Hey guys, with the major update now live, I'm going to be trying to cover all of the new features that were added to the game, and I'm going to start off by talking about the new item system which was added to the game, which is actually the Ancient Legendary Crafting. So first of all, a few people have been asking whether or not this has actually been added to the game, and I can confirm it has actually been added to the game. The way you can actually unlock this is that you have to reach Paragon level 900 first, and once you reach Paragon level 900, you're going to get a quest here, which is going to tell you to speak to Chassi, and it's a very short quest. You just have to kind of skip a few dialogue, and then once you've skipped the dialogue, you'll have access to this item crafting here, which is the Ancient Legendary Crafting. And you can see that for now, all we have is the helmet slot, so I'm really hoping that they do add more slots for this in the future, but for now, we're stuck with the helmet slots. So we do have a few options here over which helmet to craft, and basically the magic attribute for these helmets is going to be different. But before I get into that, I want to talk about the two different ways that you can get Ancient Legendary items. Looking at the patch notes, it actually tells us that for Ancient Legendary items, you can get them from doing raids, Gauntlet, Vanguard, Terra Rift, Oblivion Pillars, and also Hellslayer bounties. So it doesn't actually look like you can get Ancient Legendary items just by doing regular open world farming or dungeons, which is a bit of a shame. And from what I can see, these are actually going to be even rarer than the 444 items. So for example, we're used to these items here where you have 3 attributes and 4 magic attributes, as you can see, and these usually have pretty high CR. But from what I can understand, Blizzard wants the Ancient Legendary items to be kind of a chase item, so you're going to be really having a hard time farming these, and the chance for them to actually drop are going to be very, very slim. So on to the second way to actually get them, which I think is going to be the way most players will be acquiring them, and this is by the Ancient Artifact Crafting. So to craft any of these here, you need 100 of the Ancient Artifact, and then you have all the different difficulties here for the new difficulties that they've added, so Inferno 7, Inferno 8, and Inferno 9. And then you have the counter for all of the artifacts that you have here, kind of like how you have the wisps for the green set items. Let me quickly talk about how you can actually acquire the Ancient Artifacts. So if you click here and click Get More, you can see you have 3 ways you can get it: the Reliquary Raids, the Codex Daily Reward Chests, and also Daily Dungeon Rewards. So what I found out is that if we go to the Codex here, we can see that we have the daily chests, and simply if you click on each of these, you can see that for the last daily chest, so if you do 120 battle points and actually get this last chest here, you can get 1 Ancient Artifact for your difficulty, and the same thing with the green set items here. So if you run 3 dungeons in the day, you can get 1 Ancient Artifact here. I'm not sure why it's not showing here, but you can get 1 from this as well. And you can basically go ahead and try clear these every day as you normally do, or you can let them stack up to 3 days and then not miss out on any rewards as long as you keep clearing them every 3 days. So basically you have a chance to get up to 2 from this codex, 1 from the chest here and 1 from the green set items here. Let's move on to talk about how you can get Ancient Artifacts from raids. So if you click on the raids here, you can see that I've done my 5 raids for the reset. So this is going to be a bit harder to explain because it doesn't show the actual rewards here, it just shows the assist reward. But if you haven't done your raids, you'll be able to see this, and thankfully I took screenshots earlier before I'd done my raids. So if you were to go to Inferno 6 and look at the rewards, you can't actually see that you're getting any Ancient Artifacts. What it means is that Ancient Artifacts can only drop on Inferno 7 and above, and how it works is that you get 1 Ancient Artifact per boss that you defeat on Inferno 7 difficulty or above. So you can get up to a maximum of 5 per reset, which means that you can get 10 per week because there's 2 resets. So combined with the ones that you can get from the chests and the green sets, you can basically get up to 24 Ancient Artifacts if my math is correct. So you get 14 from this, 2 per day, and you get 1 per boss from here. So you can get 24 per week, which means that roughly in about 4 to 5 weeks you'll be able to do 1 craft of the Ancient Legendary items. The other thing that's really important to talk about, so you can see in this screenshot here that I've clicked on the Ancient Artifact, and it says that this can be awarded when defeating Reliquary bosses after reaching Paragon 900. So you have to be Paragon 900. If you're under Paragon 900, even if you do Inferno 7 raids, unfortunately you won't be getting an Ancient Artifact. And it also says that the difficulty tier of the material depends on your Paragon level, and the Reliquary difficulty unlocks when it drops. So what this means is that the Ancient Artifact that you get, whether it be Inferno 7, Inferno 8 or Inferno 9, it isn't actually tied to the raid that you clear. It's actually based on your level and also the highest level that you've unlocked. This also makes it so that Ancient Legendary items cannot be pre-farmed at all, because the drop level of the artifacts all depends on your own level, unfortunately. So let's say for example that you've unlocked Inferno 9 by defeating the last boss of Inferno 8, and for Inferno 9 we can see that it's a Paragon level of 1100. So let's say you've reached Paragon 1100 and you've unlocked Inferno 9. even if you were to do an Inferno 7 raid rather than Inferno 9, that should still drop you Inferno 9 ancient artifacts rather than Inferno 7 if the game description is to be believed. So this is actually really good news for players like me or players who like to push Paragon, because what this means is that you won't have to waste the XP for the first clear that you get, which is the 2 million XP, which isn't affected by the penalty. I've had numerous videos on my channel before about this, which is basically the big chest on the left here. You can see this is going to give you 2 million XP, and you can see that if I were to click on Inferno 6 here, I've actually got this all saved up here, and I've used up the ones for Inferno 5 for this reset. But my plan going forward is basically I'm going to skip running Inferno 6 completely and just keep running the Inferno 7 raids, and that's what I'm going to keep doing for the near future, just because I don't want to miss out on the ancient artifacts. This is something that I don't think many players want to be missing out on, so you should try to clear at least Inferno 7 if you can and you're an active player. You want to be clearing these every week, and then even if you were to unlock Inferno 8 or Inferno 9 in the future, if you want to save that XP just to push Paragon levels, then you can do that, and you won't be missing out on the ancient artifacts that you get from that. As far as getting an ancient legendary item from a drop rather than from crafting, I think that the chances are extremely slim, so it's worth actually maximizing the amount of artifacts that you're getting per week. So you can get up to 24, like I said, and you want to be trying to get as close to that as possible. If we take a quick look at the market on my server and go to Terra Essence, I can see that the price for Terra Essence has actually increased slightly, whether that be just because we had new difficulties added, or maybe whales are trying their luck to actually get the ancient legendary items from the Terra Essence, because like I said, they can drop from the Hellslayer bounties and Oblivion Pillars. It might be the case that they are trying to get the items from there, but I think personally it's not worth it. I've heard of people spending a large amount of Terra Essence and they still haven't been able to get their hands on the ancient legendary items, so I would say, just to be safe, try to go for the crafting system instead rather than actually farming it. If we were to go to the NPC here next to Chassis, you can see that we can actually convert the lower difficulty Fabled Wisps to higher difficulty 1. So I know that a lot of people farmed a lot of the Inferno 6 Wisps, for example, and then when they reach Paragon 900, they could actually convert all of these to Inferno 7 and go ahead and get started with the crafting for Inferno 7, but this doesn't seem to be possible at all for the artifacts, unfortunately. So like I said, pre-farming won't be a thing for these items. I do still think that they are worth it though, and the reason for that is that basically the combat rating here, if we were to scroll up, so this combat rating is actually maxed for the difficulties. So what this means is that if I were to drop or craft this item at Paragon level 911, which is my current Paragon level, it's actually going to be the same as if I were to craft this as the late 900s, so like Paragon level 980. It's always going to have this max CR, which is 2659. So this is quite a lot of combat rating here, and I think for modes where combat rating is important, stuff like raids, gauntlet, or challenge rifts, these items are going to be incredibly useful. One of the kind of downsides of this item is that they do have the main stat, which is like strength or intelligence, and also vitality. I know that a lot of players like to have like fortitude and willpower for PvP, for example. So if we were to compare this with one of the Inferno 7, just one of the early items that I farmed here, so you can see this isn't really a particularly good item, it's just got one magic attribute, but you can see here almost 1200 fortitude, 1200 willpower, so this is going to translate to 120 armor and armor pen and 120 potency resistance. So there is an argument to be made that these items are still kind of a bit better for PvP, but at the same time combat rating is still a pretty decent stat to have in PvP, especially if you're pretty similar level to your opponent. If you do have higher combat rating, you will have a little bit of an advantage there when it comes to those fights. But the other thing to also consider is the magic attributes that you can get on these items. So like I said, each of these helmets has different magic attributes, as you can see, and we can quickly take a look at them. So for the first red one here, you can see that it gives you a new stat, which is damage while moving increased by 6%. So this is a pretty good stat. It also gives you beneficial effect duration, critical hit chance, and critical hit damage. So all of these stats are actually very, very good. It's kind of a shame that this doesn't have like 4% critical hit chance, 5% critical hit chance, and maybe like 6% critical hit damage, just to have those max stats, and also the same with the beneficial effect duration. I would have loved to seen kind of max stats here, because then this would kind of make even more of an argument for these items to actually be used, and it would kind of negate the downside of not having the high fortitude or high willpower here. But let's move on and take a look at these other items here. So you can see you've got this one here, damage increased by 6% when attacking enemies from behind, accuracy rating, damage increased by 6% to enemies below 30% life. I'm going to be completely honest, guys, this one in terms of stats doesn't seem that great to me. Let's have a quick look at the next one here. So this one gives you an attribute from the Vanguard, I believe, one of the raid boss skills, and then it gives you primary attacks have an 8% chance to explode on hit, dealing 100% damage to nearby enemies. 100% damage, so you get like double damage. 8% it is also not really that good, guys, I'm not gonna lie. Attack speed, primary attack speed Yeah, I don't think I'd ever take one of these two over the red one here, if I was being honest. Let's take a quick look at the blue one here. So it says that picking up a health globe has 24% chance to reset a skill on cooldown, so quarter chance to reset a skill on cooldown. Okay, that one seems kind of interesting. Attack speed, skill cooldown, skill damage. Once again, I mean, not the best in my opinion. And then this last one here, Grave Runner. Let's quickly see. So this seems like it has like Ereban or Abyssal Verge attributes. So you've got Endure, damage taken from players reduced by 1.5, loss of control duration reduced by 6%. Oh, that's pretty good. I wonder if this stat gets strifed as well. I'm not too sure, but I mean, this one kind of seems okay maybe for PvP, like PvP oriented players. This could be kind of one that they choose. But just to be safe, to be honest, I would probably go for the red one here. I think that these stats overall are very decent for both PvP and PvE. The other thing which I almost forgot to mention is that just like with normal legendary items, these items will also take on the essence that you want to transfer onto it. So whatever essence you like, and also the curse properties that you give can also be transferred. So unlike the other legendary equipment craft, like the fine craft with the Rudderlight, which they've added, where you can choose the eternal magic attribute that you want, unfortunately it doesn't seem like any of these have any eternal magic attributes. So if you are using a build that kind of requires eternal magic attributes, then maybe these won't be that useful, unfortunately. It's kind of a shame in that regard, because if you were to use one of these items, it's kind of going to be blocking the helmet slot for one of the stats here that you can get. I would have really liked to see the option to add an eternal stat to one of these items, or maybe even just like +1 to all of your eternal stats. Just something interesting like that I think would have been really good and would have added more build diversity to the game. Overall, I do think that these items will have some kind of use though, even if it's just as a stat stick. Like let's say you're missing combat rating, these items will kind of give you the maximum amount, so they could be useful in that regard. The last thing that I want to talk about is something pretty interesting that I've noticed, and that is that it seems like with the direction of the game, Blizzard is kind of adding these new systems on top of what we already have, rather than actually increasing the cap or updating the old systems. So let's take a quick look at the Seeker's Path here, and we can see what I mean. So the Heliquary demonic remains, you can get these from raids, and when you salvage these demonic remains, you can basically get the material, which is the void blood slag. So you can see here, if I were to salvage this, I would get the 20 void blood slag. And what you can do with this is you can actually upgrade your Heliquary level to a maximum of level 70. So Blizzard hasn't been updating this, and it doesn't seem like they will be updating this. So basically, for all of the old players, they're going to keep accumulating this void blood slag, and it doesn't seem like there will be a way for us to actually spend this. But rather than updating this old system, what it seems like they've done is that they've added this kind of free system on top of it, which is the ancient artifacts, so that raids aren't completely worthless to do, because I do feel like a lot of players, especially older players, have been feeling that raids are kind of getting monotonous and don't really give much reward besides maybe a few legendary items. But basically they've added this on top of the raids, so it does feel like it's giving some progression to your character. I do kind of understand where Blizzard is going with this. Just for the longevity of the game, we always need to have new players, and we don't want everyone to be kind of way ahead of the new players and it to be impossible for them to catch up. But at the same time, I would like them to kind of throw the older grinders and older players kind of a bone every once in a while, just because all of these systems haven't had any update. I mean, how long have we been on the level 70 for the Heliquary now? It's been forever. I do like having new systems like this, especially because I can see the potential. They could add like more items with more stats here, and also more slots like the chest piece, shoulders piece, for example. But I'm not really convinced about the direction they've gone with how you can actually acquire these items. All of these systems are very old, and rather than updating them, they've just slapped it on top of it. And this is kind of similar to the Rhodolite and all of these stained remains as well. This was kind of just slapped on to stuff that we already have in the game, like Oblivion Pillars, Terror Rifts, Hellslayer Bounties. I'm probably being overly critical or a bit nitpicky, because I do think that for the majority of players, they will be pretty happy that they can get these kind of free rewards for things that they're already doing in the game. So do I think that these ancient legendary items are actually worth grinding for? I do think that they are, and personally I will be trying to clear the Inferno 7 raids every week just to be able to get these artifacts, and moving forward as I level up, I'll continue doing the Inferno 7 raids, and like that I should be able to get the ancient artifacts for Inferno 8 and also Inferno 9, which means that I can keep the strategy intact of saving the XP for raids. I think that I've rambled on for enough here, guys. As always, do let me know your thoughts and opinions on the new chase item, the ancient legendary items, and I'm kind of curious, has anyone actually dropped one of these items? If you have, then you have godly luck, honestly, because I think it's going to be very hard for us moving forward. But yeah, good luck with the drops, everyone, and hope you're enjoying the new major update. I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace.